Hi, everybody. I'm Trin Johnson, and welcome to Dust in My Eye. So, about a year ago, I started posting a short every day. And for a while, I was doing this format, this artist trading card size, like baseball card size. Um, Paintings, some of them were pastels, some of them were gouache, some of them were watercolor. Whatever struck me, alcohol ink, I did some of those. And in the month of October, I did some Halloween themed ones. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I did a little um, tour, sketchbook tour that wasn't really in a sketchbook of a bunch of the ones I did um, that weren't the Halloween ones. And I thought you might be interested in seeing the Halloween ones, and then I'll paint one for this year. So I'm going to start in chronological order of what I painted them. Like I said, there were some other just general fall paintings in here too that I did not include in this, but I thought this would be kind of fun. So the first one that I did was this moon and cattails, kind of autumn, kind of fall, kind of scary, I don't know, Halloweeny theme. That was the first one. And then I did these ghosts. Now that one, I should say, this one is watercolor with some gouache. This one is gouache. I did a funny little cat with some sharp teeth and claws and a moon, and he is watercolor. He is out of a watercolor that spreads a lot. Just kind of goes whoosh, and it's really cool and it makes neat fur. So that's what he was, kind of a little experiment. And then this one is in gouache, a little pumpkin, and you can see that he shines a little bit. I like to use the shimmery stuff on the spider webs. Then I had this guy. Most of these just popped out of my head. There's, see, he shimmers too. And then I had this one with a witch flying over in front of the moon. This one's watercolor. That last one was gouache also. This one is watercolor and a little bit of gouache. And you can see it's the background has got a lot of heavy granulation, so it was granulating watercolors. And this one is also watercolor and heavy granulating watercolor. You can tell by the background. And this one is also watercolor. And of course, my spider, his little web string here is sparkly. This one is alcohol ink. And it was kind of fun. A nice spooky tree with a big moon. And then this one was on Halloween. I posted this one of this little ghost going trick-or-treating. And now we have a raven that was also included in my previous tiny painting sketchbook tour video. And I thought he fit the theme, so I threw him in here. It's kind of Halloween-y. And now I'm going to paint another one for this year. And I got this picture off Pixabay. I rearranged things a little bit to fit my portrait format. And I'm just mixing up some titanium gold ochre. And I'm starting with the label. I do a lot of layering when I work with gouache. And it definitely has its little ugly stage in the middle where you're thinking, oh my gosh, is anything ever going to come of this? But it usually works out okay. So I thought I would speed it up so that you didn't have to watch every painstaking layer. And now I'm working on the candle a little bit, trying to drop in some of the orange. I think I'm using Brilliant Orange. And I'm just get the general shapes of things in to begin with, and then I end up going over it quite a bit and doing some details at the last bit. I have never painted a skull before, so this is a first for that for me. At least I don't think I have. So I'm just trying to give him a little base color to start. I think I am using a little cad red and primary magenta to mix a reddish color for the book. I really like using these dried gouache palettes. I find them easier to work with than getting out the tubes of paint and or using my wet gouache palette, especially if I'm painting plein air. That really seems to be the difference between whether it works nicely or not. And I'm just trying to get the jar painted in. It was this dark, kind of matte finished jar with a highlight down it. It was really kind of a cool picture. It has a twine bow tied at the top of it. And the jar continues past the label, so I really work later on to make that differentiated from the shadow that's under the jar. I'm just getting some of the details in on my skull, some of the darker parts, the teeth. I have painted gargoyles, and oddly, they seem kind of similar in some ways to how you paint a skull, or at least how I was trying to paint the skull. And I'll just work on the candle a little bit more. Trying to get some highlights in. And now I painted over the label to get it a little more yellow looking, well, not so pink. And painting the twine and the cork in the top. Little details on the book. And then I thought I would get the background going. It's a mixture of sepia, tree brown, and primary black. Tree brown is my own color that I mixed. A very dark brown. I'm just cutting in around all the objects. Now with gouache, like I said, you can layer, so it doesn't have to be really perfect. I can always go over it again. Because it's opaque, you can even put white over darks and have them pop, versus watercolor where you kind of have to think about that ahead of time. Trying to get those pops of the bright white on the skeleton. Working on the candle again. And the book, trying to get some more details. there's a little black like placard on the side of the book, and that's what that is. Trying to get that flame to show up. And the cork. And the twine. Now I'm putting highlights on the twine just to make it show up a little bit better, and the cork. And that's the glass, like the rim of the glass bottle. And now I'm painting the reflection. Trying to define the bottle a little bit more and where the label starts. Get the ribbon to stand out a little bit more, the twine bow. And now I'm really working on that shadow under the jar and the skeleton head, the skull, and the book and the candle. So they're not just floating above the table. Working on the label a little bit more. Has this nice rusty edge to it. I'm really trying to get that shadow to differentiate the bottom of the jar from the shadow on the table. And here I'm painting in the details on the label, trying to get the right consistency. I did not do as fancy of a label as was in the original picture. I just want to give that idea of the label. And there's a couple bats on the label. So I'm doing my best impression of a bat. And the other bat. It's kind of fun to paint. I kind of miss painting all of the Halloween things I painted last year, but it's a little stressful trying to paint every day. So I don't miss the stress, but trying to paint and record, I should say. I generally do paint every day, but If you're liking this video, I would really appreciate a like. And if you want to see more like this, hit that subscribe button. And I still have some more tiny paintings that I have not thrown up there for a review, for a tour that I probably will be doing in the future. So if this kind of thing interests you, if you subscribe, then you'll be able to see it. And if you hit notifications, they should let you know when I have a new video up. And that would be wonderful. Just getting the little bitsy details now. All the little highlights. Now I decided to do some dry brushing on the label to make it look older. And because it's kind of all crackly. But it was a little too much, so I dulled it down with a little like wash of white gouache with a golden color in it. And now I'm just going over some of the details that I lost in the process. And just get that rusty color back on there. A few more details in the candle. Some highlights on the book. And the cork. Differentiating the side of the jar from the background there a little bit. And that's it. I'm going to sign my name here and peel the tape. Nothing like peeling the tape to make you feel better about something because it just all falls together when you get rid of all the fuzzy edges. So if you haven't painted any Halloween themed things this year, I recommend you do. It's a lot of fun. Let your imagination go wild. It's just so satisfying peeling tape. So I do hope you enjoyed this, and please check out my Etsy shop where I have prints of my artwork along with cute little monsters and other fun stuff for sale. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.